Switzerland man. Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? You know, you guys are troopers. I get to win that there's these different discussions here and there, and I think you guys are doing very well. You know, we have this young man, Dimitri, from Switzerland here visiting us. That's 132 Nice. Quite a young lad, really getting into health and really gets it, like a lot of you guys. You know, nothing's perfect on the planet. Certainly I'm not. Our focus is to heal them up, to really change the consciousness of this planet. And it's vital that we do that. You can see that. I was just going over a 19-year-old girl's workup, doing her iris analysis and doing it, and a whole family, the mom, a 14-year-old, and a 19-year-old. And this 19-year-old is smart as a whip. I watched how she filled out her questionnaire, and it's amazing. She even said how bad the government was at 19 years old. I had to laugh, you know, just really incredibly smart. And so all of you guys are just doing real well. Do feel, you know, we have a lot of work to do with some people, and working on genetics and remembering those cells and cleaning out the body of the acids and all the pains and tumors and things. We got a lot of work ahead of us, but let's all work together, you know. And everybody there's different opinions out there on different things, but I think if the final analysis, come on in, Dimitri. The final analysis, of course, is you can't argue the fact that we're frugivores. You can argue the fact that perhaps way back when man migrated out of the tropics, which is true. And like one girl said, that the planet was probably mostly tropical at one time. You would seem that deal with the Homo sapien creature, now that the Homo sapien is all filtrated all through the planet, but you see all these health issues. The nice thing and the privilege I have is to be able to see people worldwide, you know, and get a good handle on genetics and different cultures and people, and it's just my own China study, and it's because I'm working right with them. It's not just observation. I'm working with their health issues. I have their eyes, so I really get a good look worldwide at what man's suffering with, and diets and the relationships of those diets to health issues and things like this. And hands down, it continues to confirm that the tropical frugivorish diet is key for man. And you really see that in all you guys that have kicked yourself up on the fruits and use the herbs, and your healings are just coming along. Some takes maybe longer than you would like, but when you think about a lifetime of having extreme problems, from not being able to walk, from not being able to be full of pain, and suddenly you're working yourself out of that, where you've had years of trying to find that, I think that's incredible. And I think that you have to give yourselves some time to let the body regenerate itself. And it's just what learning about detoxification and what we're up against. You realize that most of the healing modalities on this planet haven't got a clue to what you guys know, and don't really have a clue to how you really regenerate tissue. You know, there's a lot of people that get well, and there's a lot of people that feel better, but we've got some tough cases. You know, we're talking about that little baby, 8 months old, 8 pounds, and 4 holes in the heart. You know, this is what we're facing. So I think it's important that we all hold hands and we all become one strong entity. Dimitri, we talked about that yesterday, you know, us becoming one powerful force, because we must change governments, we must change the way we do things. This use of pharmaceuticals and the allowance of these killing drugs and stuff, we just have to stop. And it's just the world has gotten out of balance, and it's up to the spiritual people, in my opinion, to bring the positive force, the higher consciousness, and wake up the sleeping. And so they're gonna kind of come screaming and kicking. There's no question about it. And some of you are doing that, you know. Excuse me. Well, I'm getting to the end of it, but still cleaning myself out pretty good. been doing those big pomelo. I should have brought one of those in. You ever had a pomelo? I call them pomelos, but pomelos. They're huge. They're a cross between a grapefruit and an orange. I'll bring some tomorrow. And they're huge, and they're good. You just chow them in there. But they're good detoxifiers. You know, they're like grapefruits and lemons and things like this, good astringents, and they clean the body out. Well, this is a question from Marianne. She is Mayberry, 33. That's cute. She has type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, of course, is the adrenal glands. And the adrenal glands, of course, produces a lot, well, all the body steroids, actually, and cortisol is the one most attributed to sugar metabolism. So it doesn't matter what your blood workup shows with cortisol levels. It's obvious when you're having sugar metabolism problems you're having, and we'll just condense it to the adrenal glands. You can specifically go to the steroids, of course. And I suppose, I doubt if it could be a neurological sugar metabolism problem, because I don't see that relationship. In type 1, where the autonomic nervous system controls beta cell production of insulin, then that's where we see a neurological diabetes. But in any type 2, you still want to keep with your simple sugars, but you want to work on your adrenal glands and kidneys. This is a real key to overcoming type 2. Type 2 is very easy to overcome. Hypoglycemia the same way. They're just flip sides of the same coin. Sugar metabolism problems, hypo or hyperglycemia, and not difficult to overcome. Now, keep in mind, though, that the more genetically weak that the adrenals are, the harder and the longer it's going to be. I mean, that's just an obvious answer. We're just seeing a lot of very chronic adrenal glands, especially in your ages and stuff, and it's like, oh my God. So it might take you a while to work out of it, but you can work out of it. That's the point. And during that process, you're going to get your whole body healthy. And that's the best win-win situation there is, given what we're facing, given what you said here, maybe, about, Marianne, about your sad American diet food is so damn good. But, you know, it's just the way we are. Cooked food is addicting, you know, and you see that. The problem with it is that it's not healthy. And that's the end all. I mean, cooked vegetables, okay, not going to hurt you, going to suck the energy out of you. And, you know, it's not going to hurt you like the dead animal tissue and the dairy products. They definitely rank at the top of this. But I was reading one of this, it was a 19-year-old girl, and she was talking about nuts, and she went kind of crazy eating nuts, gained all this weight. So what happened to me? I started eating way too many nuts. You know, you start putting nuts and raisins and all that, and these trail mixes and stuff, and you just start eating with that, and that stuff's all not good for you. Well, I mean, the raisins are, and, you know, the raw nuts and stuff like that, but too many nuts not good for you. Too many proteins, the human body's not designed to handle that. And she was a good example talking about that. And this is why I don't have, okay, so remind me, I've got to write what we're talking about here, so I need to make another stack on top of these chocolates. I won't tell them that you brought, look what this guy brought me. Dimitri brought me these chocolates from Switzerland. Dark chocolate. To a Swiss, there's nothing better than chocolate. All right, here, this secrets of longevity. Hey, man. You're acting as if I'm trying to say what Dr. Morse does and says is not legitimate. I don't know. You guys work all that out. I love you all. You know, let's not be hard on each other. Let's be loving to each other. Agree to disagree sometimes. Don't know all the answers. That's your job. My job is to lay the groundwork, just like all of us did in the past for you guys. Dr. Jensen laid a tremendous groundwork in iridology. I think I've done, but I just never written an iridology book, which I will someday, to go on top of Jensen's, you know, because there's so much more we've learned, especially when you're using it in a clinical practice like this, and you're correlating constantly, because I'm constantly correlating. My mind is always relating to eyes and weaknesses and conditions and symptomologies and all these things to put this all together. Inquiring minds want to know. You know, if you got a mind, you can, without chattering thought, you can observe consciousness through the mind and put these things together, and not difficult. I think man makes way too much out of the health field. I do. I think we're disagreeing with too many things, and I think some of these people that are disagreeing, that some of the practitioners that are not well experienced in detoxification, and taking people way out there. I look at some of these practitioners, and they haven't read and studied some of the old greats like Errett and the natural hygienic people. And I think another big issue that we find is that a lot of the practitioners are still stuck with the consciousness of supplementation. And I think this is another thing, obviously much safer than pharmaceuticals, but definitely not our focus. And it's the lowest end of the totem pole in natural health is to use amino acids and isolates like metals and things like that to treat symptoms, when you have to consider absorption, digestion, you have to consider utilization of your nutrients by the adrenal glands. There's too many factors affecting this deficiency consciousness. It's not an appropriate consciousness for Wellville. And so this is part of our problem, is there's too many practitioners off of the wagon and didn't have this, didn't fast on their own. I've got a lot of naturopaths that never fasted. Well, if I have a naturopathic school, my students are going to fast. They're going to learn what fasting is. They're going to learn what juice fasting is. You see that in most naturopaths to a certain degree, but lost in supplementation. I remember I had a young man graduated from Bastyr College and came in here and he sat with me, and so this lady came in with, I forget what it was, I think it was something like arthritis. Something, the very curable stuff, and not from a disease point of view. And I said, what would you do with this case? Well, he rattled off B vitamins and all these sort of things, and I looked at him and said, man, you're going to have a hard way to go unless you change your consciousness. He couldn't sit here more than 3 days here with me because what we were teaching him was just so antagonistic, not antagonistic so much, but he didn't get that in school, and he went almost 5 years and did not learn those things. And I find that atrocious, because in 5 days, if I can't teach a lay person that knows absolutely nothing in 5 days to cure anything, then I failed. So when you go to 5 years to school, you should come out and not only cure the world, but some of the interplanetary beings with it. Excuse me, I apologize, but I'm going through it. I'm going through it, and I'm glad I'm getting toward the end of it. But man, I love cleaning my sinuses out and cleaning my body out, I'm telling you. I tell you, I've eaten foods that were, in restaurants. You can have a salad in a restaurant when the chef is not feeling good, and you can feel it. I can feel the food when the chefs in the kitchen are not happy. I can feel it when the people are not happy in the restaurant. It's like consciousness. You can go in a restaurant, and if there's mood shifts in there, the food gets you. And I get a lot of mucus from foods that are, in places where people are not happy. It's funny how that is. You're real sensitive, but everything is frequency and everything is vibration. I've got different chefs, famous chefs that are on our programs, and they have to taste their food, and they're all on raw. I got one guy was on dialysis, and he's a famous chef, been on a lot of shows, and he just had his kidneys scanned, and there's absolutely no deterioration, and he was at 11 creatinine. Now he's down to 3.